Mayhem and madness reigned in South Korea this weekend as the super app company Kakao lost all of its services and left millions of users in the lurch. What does that mean for the future of mega apps, and how can that help you learn English in just 15 minutes? Find out right now on English News Worth Talking About. Hey, it's Dennis Wilborn, the former sailor turned entrepreneur and English coach. Welcome back to English News Worth Talking About on All About English. This is the show where I break down some of my clients' favorite news articles to help you reach your English goals even faster. Join me Monday to Friday for a new video. Be sure to stick around to the end of this video where I will share a new idiom to help you spice up your vocabulary. And today is Monday, October 24th, and I am a week behind on the news. I can't believe it's been a whole week. And I am sorry for the delay, but family has to come before YouTube. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. You know, it is what it is. Families first. So today I'm changing things up a little bit with an article from the Korea Times. That's right. We're going with a regular newspaper article rather than a made for English learners article. So I will be a little bit brief. This is a large Korean newspaper agency, and they do offer some of their articles in English that actually have translations into Korean and a vocabulary list. You can see the link in the description along with the link to the original article as well. It is a slightly abbreviated one. Today, we're following up on our video from last week, or actually a little over a week ago, where we talked about Elon Musk and his X app idea. That's the everything app that he wanted to have. And let's see what the dangers are. Let's see what that is all about. Now, because I don't have, let's move the screen a little bit bigger. Whoa, there we go, some vocabulary. Because the article does not come from one of the made for English learners sites, it comes from a regular newspaper. We don't have the usual vocabulary on a single page like we do with some other sites. So I have compiled some slides to cover some words that you may find helpful for reading this article. First word on the list is disruption. Disruption, a break or an interruption in the normal discourse or a normal course or continuation of some activity, process, etc. Okay, so when something is cut off, we call that a disruption. So if the power is out, the power gets cut off, we call it a power disruption. All right. The sentence I use there, the president says network disruptions can pose a grave threat to national security. Actually, that is from the article from today. That's right. All right. Next word on the list, reliable. Reliable. Reliable means suitable or fit to be relied upon. You can also use the word dependable. Dependable. All right. So basically, it's an adjective. So you would need to use it with a noun to describe a noun. So in this case, we need more reliable information before we can take action. I do miss the days when news was more reliable, but these days, you got to take what you can get, I guess. Okay. Next up is derail. Derail. I really actually love this word derail because it actually comes from railroads, where you have a train on a set of rails and they just kind of go along the tracks, chicka 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 chicka, as my daughter likes to say, chicka 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 chicka. And she's 2, so you know. So yeah, imagine a train on the rails and it falls off the rails. Well, so the verb derail, as is used in this article, means to obstruct the progress of something or to upset the stability or composure of something, how something is made up. So, another word that we might use is frustrate. Okay, to frustrate, like, oh, I had a plan to go to the zoo. Unfortunately, the rain really derailed those plans. It frustrated my plans, right? So the blackout really derailed their plans for the weekends. As it's good enough expression. Now here's one that I used in the title. Mayhem. Mayhem. Great verb there, mayhem. Excuse me, noun. What is that? Mayhem. Mayhem means needless or willful damage or violence. Okay. Oftentimes, mayhem is specifically in talking about willful damage or violence, but it could also mean needless damage or violence. Um, Sometimes it means both. I don't enjoy movies that have too much murder and mayhem. If you like action movies like I do, they're all about mayhem. They're all, especially the needless kind. It's like, well, let's cause lots of chaos and mayhem. But anyway, the article talks about mayhem. The next verb on the list is pinpoint. Pinpoint. I love this one too because it paints a picture. Look at the picture on the screen there. It is a pin poked into something. When you are trying to find a problem, you need to pinpoint it. You need to identify with precision. That's what it means, to fix. And when I mean fix, it's not repair. It means to fix as in like a position. So to determine or identify with precision. To fix the problem, we have to pinpoint the cause. That's a good one. All right. And let's finish up our vocabulary with call for. Call for. You will find that this one comes up a lot in this next story. To call for means to require as necessary or appropriate. He called for a new data center to be installed. Again, this one comes from the article from today. Take a sip of coffee. That's better. All right. Let's take a look at this article and see what it's all about. All right. Cacao service disruptions cause nationwide mayhem. There's that vocabulary word, disruptions and mayhem, right there in the title. Okay. Now, I'm not going to go through the whole article because it is a bit long, but as you can see, it starts with a story. A software programmer in Seoul on Saturday suddenly began having trouble sending image and video files to his client through his Kakao Talk smartphone app. All right, I'm not going to read this story because I have my own story. So, a week ago, a little bit over a week ago, it was Saturday, so not 2 days ago Saturday, but a week ago Saturday was when this disruption occurred. My family and I decided to go visit the zoo in Daegu and enjoyed it. Was just a beautiful weather, beautiful day. Got to see all the animals. The zoo was free, which is really nice. Now, something to say about Daegu is it's about 2 hours away from where I live, a little more. And we don't live there. We don't really go there. This was the first time for us. And so we needed to use the navigation system to get there. Well, after our trip to the zoo, we wanted to drive home. Unfortunately, we use Kakao for our navigation system, Kakao Navi. Unfortunately, all of the smartphone apps on Kakao Talk were down. All of the applications that were available, including Kakao Navi, Kakao Taxi, Kakao Pay. You couldn't send messages, couldn't listen to music. It was quite embarrassing to sit in my car not knowing what to do. So let's jump into what exactly happened. Um, there was a very large fire. We'll get into that, but it was mayhem. Mayhem, the article says, mayhem for tens of millions of Kakao users within and outside Korea who had their daily lives derailed, there's that word, throughout the weekend. Its effects were felt by the public and who have largely come to rely on the company's major online services, which have become increasingly popular over the last decade. That's true. I've been here for a decade. I was here when Kakao was still a fledgling company getting started, and people were starting to use it as their main messenger service. Since then, it has grown to include payment, to include taxis, ride sharing, to include food delivery, to include navigation. I mean, it is touching everything around the country. So much so that the loss of the service really impacted the entire country, and it even got the president. It prompted President Yoon Suk Yeol to issue a grim warning that disruption to a key network infrastructure service like the latest incident not only causes significant inconvenience to the public, but also a fatal blow to national security. National security over an app? You betcha. You betcha. We have a hyper connected society, according to the spokesperson here. Data telecommunications infrastructure is directly related to national security and citizens' lives, the spokeswoman said. Spokesperson Kim Eun-hye quoted Yoon as saying at the presidential office on Sunday. So, leading IT countries and global enterprises have mentioned the importance of a flexible recovery when it comes to operating online platforms. It is a corporation's duty and promise to society. What does all of that mean? It's saying that companies that have these large apps that are connected to all across society, they have a duty to the company, they have a duty to the shareholders, but also to the users. And he's saying to all of society. I don't know about that, but when all of society is involved in using it, yeah, I would say that definitely there's something involved here. So just to give a brief rundown of exactly what happened, since I don't want to go too long in this video, there was a data center that shut down because of a fire. SK, which is South Korea Telecom, they had a data center that caught fire. All of Kakao's services were set at this data center. That really caused the major part of the disruption. 32,000 servers were shut down in the burnt building. This says as of Sunday afternoon. It has since restored a lot of the services that were lost in the last week. But during that first 10 hours, there were no services at all. No messaging, no payment, no nothing. The only thing that wasn't completely shut down was the Kakao Bank, which has its own dedicated server. Kakao Bank, though, is seeing a lot of damage financially from all of this because people are deciding to pull their shares and sell their shares. The stock price for the whole entire company has gone down dramatically. So, big deal on that one. So the 32,000 servers were recovered. Many of them, half of them recovered at that point on Sunday, last Sunday. I don't know the number now. I haven't seen an updated article with an accurate number, but they do say that more than 90% of the service has been restored. That includes everything: streaming music, taxis. Now, the taxi companies, the people who rely on Kakao Taxi in order to make their money, boy, they were really upset. People who use Kakao Payment to pay at different businesses really lost a lot. So there's a lot of legal action that will probably be coming from all of this. So, what does all of this mean when the president of the country is issuing an apology to the public for the inconvenience? The president of the country, not of the company. President Yoon actually said he was apologizing. He said, "We feel," or his minister of science said, "We feel a grave responsibility for the shutdown of digital services of Kakao and Naver." Naver is another company that was also on the server, but fortunately, they had a backup server, so they were able to get things back up and running within a couple of hours. Kakao, on the other hand, is in big trouble for not having that backup plan. Here's another use of that word, pinpointing. As well as pinpointing the incidents, causes, and policies to prevent similar future incidents, Yoon called for the installation of twin data centers to create more resilient systems. Why didn't they have twin data centers? I do not know. A company as large as Kakao lost a lot, and a lot of people lost a lot of money because of this. Whether they'll be able to sue, I don't know, because they don't actually charge for their services. So I don't know if they'll actually be able to sue for that. It's a big deal. A lot of people lost a lot of money. And this incident just shows the fragility, how fragile a system like this is when you have a hyper connected society. When everyone is connected online like this, it is really a big deal. All right, let's jump right into what we learned today. This is kind of, that's a big deal. In my opinion, it's a huge deal. But let's talk about what we learned today. What did we learn today? Well, first of all, we learned that mayhem for millions comes in the form of an everything app. I mean, really, the Kakao servers and the Naver servers created absolute chaos when they lost power on those servers. Tens of millions of people lost. Now, do you want that coming to hundreds of millions across the United States if a super app decides to fail? Do you want to put all of your eggs in that basket? That's a good question. What this outage demonstrated, number two, is that a vast majority of people, companies, and even government agencies have an over reliance on technology. They don't know what to do when everything fails. It was evidenced by the fact that there were numerous car accidents, people staring at their phones, trying to drive. I was trying to drive, and I watched a lot of people staring at their phones going, what do I do? What do I do? I don't know where I'm going because my navigation doesn't work. But the good news is this small little hiccup in the technology is a wake-up call for folks. Remember, it's time to remember how we used to do things before we gave up a part of our thinking to the machines. Guess what? When the message system doesn't work, you can still send a text message. You can still pick up the phone and dial and call someone the old-fashioned way. And when your navigation doesn't work, do what I did. Learn the difference between north, south, east, and west. Know how to tell the difference. That's how I got home. It took 2 hours. That's the normal time it takes to get home. All I had to do was realize, where's the sun? When I knew that the sun was at my back while it was setting, that was west and I was headed east. So I headed east until I got to the highway and then headed south to get back home. And I made it. My wife was so happy. My kids were so, well, they didn't know. They don't know how to tell the difference, but I know I was happy. Whew, dodged that bullet. That's what this is all about today. Let's wrap it up with our idiom of the day: straighten up and fly right. Straighten up and fly right. It means to get serious and stop acting absurd. Okay? Get serious and stop acting absurd. It means to act mature and get focused. And we use this to indicate to someone that they might be misbehaving, that they have a problem, and they need to start acting correctly. All right? Some examples you might hear. You haven't been staying on top of your homework. You better straighten up and fly right, or you'll get a bad grade. Or how about this one? To Kakao. You lost the servers for more than 10 hours and actually still working on it over a week later. You better straighten up and fly right, or people will find another service to use. All right, where does this come from? Straighten up and fly right comes from an old Nat King Cole song written. It was called Straighten Up and Fly Right, written in 1943. Really great old song. Straighten up and fly right. Anyway, you can look it up. It got all those music things. It was from a folk tale called The Buzzard and the Monkey that Cole learned from his father. And that was the basis for the song. Now, in the story, there was a turkey vulture that deceived and lied to other animals and got him into riding on his back. And he would take them up really high and then toss them off. And then eat them while they were in midair, just like that. Well, a monkey sees the trick and he requests very humbly to be taken for a ride. And then he tries to choke the bird by wrapping the tail around his neck. Yeah, the vulture is said to have been cursed by the monkey for fooling around and killing all the other animals. And that is why vultures are only allowed to eat carrion. Carrion? What is carrion? Carrion is a dead animal. Vultures only eat already dead animals. That's why, because the vulture fooled around and the monkey cursed him. All right, so if you are paying attention to the world around you, and I know that you're doing that if you're watching this show, then I don't have to tell you to straighten up and fly right. And if you like what I do and support my coffee habit, please consider buying me a cup of coffee. Click the link in the description. Then that is all of the time that we have for today. Remember that learning is an adventure. So get out there and start adventuring. I'll see you tomorrow. Your homework for today: be sure to share this program with just one of your friends. Smash the like button and leave a comment about what you've learned down below. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss anything. And if you'd like to join the conversation yourself in a one-on-one or even a group class, check out my page on Amazing Talker. You might find me doing a video about an article you chose as well. And always remember, learning is meant to be an adventure. That's what it's all about.